So Jesus is sleeping in the middle of a storm. You think he was? Well, that's what it says. And it feels like many times for us, when we hear this story, I would think we could all imagine and go back to times when we've said it or we've heard it. Where is God when you need him? And, or, if God is so wonderful, where is God when the tragedies and the upsetments of life occur? Don't we struggle with these questions, particularly when we try to balance our understanding of justice and right, and then if God is so wonderful, why doesn't he let it happen? Now, we're selective in what we want God to do, because when we want to have our way, and it may not be what he's asking, we want the freedom to do it. But otherwise, we kind of go through this thing. This is not an uncommon experience. Now, whatever's going on in the story, if this is before the death and resurrection of Christ, they're still wondering who this guy is. Who is this? Who is this guy that even then when he does wake up and calms the sea? I mean, and they're in awe. Well, they're still trying to figure out, who is this? Now, for us who millennia later know who Jesus is, but we are called really to keep going back to that, and what do we really believe this is all about? But one of the challenges to faith, and by the way, let's not confuse faith, which is trust, not always seeing the evidence, with the final vision that we're going to see at the end in heaven. We call that beatific vision. Pie in the sky when you die by and by, but not yet. We have to live with trust that somehow the good will prevail. Very often we don't see how that's going to happen. It looks like the ship is sinking. That's the image of the gospel today. We might ask the question, it feels like, why does it seem that God at times is not present when we need him? Where was God this week when 9 people were murdered in church at a Bible study in Charleston? Do you realize the rigmarole we go through to get on an airplane? And these people died in church. It's a wake-up call. Couldn't God have kept this guy, who, by the way, spent an hour with these people before shooting them? This is horrendous stuff. And so where is God in church? These are mysteries beyond our pay grade. These are not just problems to be solved. These truly are the mysteries of life and death. And we are called to trust. How many times in the gospel does Jesus say, fear is useless, what is needed is trust? Now, very often when we talk about faith, we say, well, do you have faith? You don't have faith. Well, I believe, and we're going to say it in the I believe in God the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the church, etc., etc., etc. That's up here. That's the intellectual side of faith, the content of what we believe. That's the head, the head. The heart of faith, the affective side of faith, is trust. Who do you trust? Why do you trust them? Who do you not trust? And why don't you trust them? Usually we've been done in by them. Or we them. Trust is a big deal. It's very much connected to love. A lot of our faith is about trust. Do I trust that God will be there when I need it? Part of faith says, well, where do you think he's going to be? Isn't he everywhere? But from our side, we have to be careful not to confuse our feeling of abandonment or being alone or very vulnerable with the presence of God. And we live in a cause and effect world. I perpetrate evil, evil is done. I do the good deed, good is done. God has not put us in a world where we are puppets. We can do the good, we can do the evil. And it matters. And it makes a big difference. We can make things disastrously worse or incredibly better. And those are the challenges of our day-to-day life. But today, perhaps, the challenge for all of us is in hearing this story, who feel like the disciples that the ship is going down in our bad hair days and our worst moments. It just seems like it's overwhelming at times. And the news reported to us day in and day out is one trauma after another, which, if we're not careful, makes us paranoid about everything and wondering what we should believe or not believe, or is it all just kind of mind games? It makes us feel good, but it's not there. God is really not there. Now, in the end, Jesus wakes up and reveals the truth. That even the storm and the storms of life are subject to the providence of God. Now, either you believe that or you don't. And if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. This is where we cut to the chase and cut to the quick. It is about our trust in God. Since I have been here, I've done this one other time, and I thought today was another good day to do this. A prayer that I've been passing around for years is called the Prayer of Complete Trust in God of St. Francis de Sales. It's only about 400 years old, so they didn't make it up overnight. But as I've discovered this prayer over the years, it says in a few sentences what I think we believe, but don't put it all together at times. I'd like to repeat it again with you today. And you can get it online, or if you can't, we'll get you a copy. I have some in my office. And this is the prayer. Do not look forward to the trials and crosses of this life with dread and fear. Rather, look to them with full confidence that as they arise, God, to whom you belong, will deliver you from them. He has guided and guarded you thus far in your life. Do you but hold fast to his dear hand, and he will lead you safely through all trials. Whenever you cannot stand, he will carry you lovingly in his arms. Do not look forward to what may happen tomorrow. The same eternal Father who cares for you today will take good care of you tomorrow and every day of your life. Either he will shield you from suffering, or he will give you the unfailing strength to bear it. Be at peace then, and put aside all useless thoughts, all vain dreads, and all anxious imaginations. And the congregation said,